Good morning and welcome to our movie. Anne Crawford, Jimmy Hanley and Raymond Huntley star in the 1948 comedy It's Hard to Be Good.
It makes a difference, I suppose, what you have waiting. A home, parents. I haven't either.
Why?
The war?
In Senris, they were frozen up. All they needed was some water.
Mine needed salt. Well, you can have the ideals. If I get through this lot, I'll take what I can get and leave the other fellow alone.
It's just the attitude that got us into this mess. My father had 5 years, 1914, 18. I've had 5. My son will get the next lot. How many more times? I intend to keep my son out of it.
You never told me you had a son.
I'm not married, but I might be.
Brought your mail, sir. Thought you might like to have it before she blows.
Thank you. Men standing by.
Yes, sir.
Well?
Do you mind if I pop down the hill a minute, sir?
What now, just as we're going in?
Oh, I thought I'd just take a look at them trucks, sir. It'll only take a minute.
You're showing an extraordinary interest in those trucks.
Oh, we need the ammunition, sir.
We also need you, Sergeant Todd. You'll stay here.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
It must be a help to get letters, anyway.
Yes, it is. We take pleasure in bringing to your attention the large stocks we still hold of beautiful pre-war quality sunshades, which will at once transform the warmest situation into a cool and peaceful retreat.
Pity we didn't know sooner.
"15 seconds.
Well, what's the solution to it all?
I've told you. Goodwill.
You know, you ought to have been a Boy Scout.
I was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not sensitive. Position taken and consolidated by 0330 hours.
After which position will be promptly retaken. Bloody fool, British having failed to secure adequate supplies of ammunition.
There's still a bit, sir.
Bad enough to let us have breakfast before we leave. A sergeant of yours, Becky?
No, sir.
First-class soldier, Sergeant Todd, sir. As a matter of fact, he comes from my hometown. I wondered if I couldn't go down and see if he's,
I've already said no.
Yes, sir.
ammunition tracks. The enemy are plastering the bridge. They can't get across.
We've got to get across. What about Sergeant Todd?
Don't know, sir. He must have copped it.
Get me some grenades and meet me here.
Sir.
I can drive. Get me some grenades.
Yes, sir.
Can't see a ruddy thing. You have a go.
I suppose Captain Wicks, sir, he's all right.
He doesn't deserve to be disobeying orders.
No, I mean all this talk of his about goodwill.
The MO says it's kidneys.
And now I think that... Yes, they're over, sir.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Sir, under here.
They got you, Todd?
It's the wheels on my leg.
We'll have to wedge her out below the tire.
What about this, sir?
You put it up. Right, hold her.
Take the other trucks and they'll pick me up later.
You're coming back with me if I have to carry you. Go and start up the other truck. What the blazes are they doing?
Shut up.
What's the matter?
Put a sock in it. I can't concentrate.
Anyone would think it was you fetching the flipping trucks.
I am. In spirit.
We can't do anything with this here. What the devil's going on in front? Don't forget you're under arrest.
Sir?
You heard. What's the matter with you? Won't you stop?
Ammo's through, sir. We lost 2 men.
Who was driving that truck?
Captain Wade, sir. He brought Sergeant Todd in with him.
Remind me to put them both down for court-martial. Or decoration. Or something.
But whatever the year 1947 may have in store for us, we shall take it in our stride.
Quite comfortable.
No matter what the year 1948 may hold for us, we shall meet it with our heads held high.
We keep saying someone ought to do something. It's not enough.
Night duty's enough for me to get on with.
We can't afford to sit back. People here at home seem so resigned. They seem to accept the idea of another war as inevitable. It's frightful.
That's right. Now, you just try to relax.
They only need someone to give them a lead.
You give them a rest. They'll be satisfied.
Goodwill. That's the key to the whole thing. Unless they realize that, it's hopeless.
Okay, it's hopeless. So you can relax, can't you?
How is it?
Goodwill again. There's about 10 more minutes of that. Then love thy neighbor and a good sweat. Oh, I'm tired. The ones with a mission do wear you out. On cheerio.
Bye. Well, and how is Captain Wedge this morning?
Captain Wedge is better. Captain Wedge is always better when Sister Leighton comes on duty. Stop calling me Captain Wedge and come and hold my hand.
It's not prescribed. Have you been letting your ideas loose on Sister Taylor again?
Yes, but she still doesn't agree with me.
I don't agree with you either.
No, but you do listen. You're sympathetic and intelligent, and you've got a lovely voice. And I think we...
I think we're going to take your temperature.
It was never more normal. You know, when you went off duty last night, I looked out of the window, and I saw a blue moon.
Number 16 saw a red one.
You know what that means, don't you?
In his case, it meant his appendix was about to burst.
Oh, you're always so material.
Nursing is rather a material business. Come along, open up.
Directly I get out of here, we're going to see a lot more of each other. You're going to forget that you're a nurse, and you're going to remember that you're
I've got a
madly
letter for you.
attractive.
You'd like me to read it?
I suppose so. What days do you get off next month?
I've no idea. Now, come along, open up. That's better. It's signed Aunt Ellen.
Oh, that sounds depressing. Look, I think it would be better if we...
Keep the mouth closed and breathe through the nose. Better. Dear James, your Uncle Edward wishes me to say that if you have nowhere to go when you come back, we could put you up here for a while, at a pinch. I'm afraid it won't be at all comfortable with both your cousins at home and your Aunt Alice living with us, and I don't quite know how we'll manage. It's so difficult, too, with the food. But please feel that you would be most welcome here if you have absolutely nowhere else you can go. Affectionate regards. They do want you badly, don't they?
Whatever's the matter? He's coming.
Who's coming?
James, Tom's son. He's coming here to live.
He's what?
I just met Mrs. Peake, the one whose son was in the same hospital. She says James told him he was coming here.
But he can't. There isn't room.
He said you asked him.
Well, I put it in such a way he couldn't possibly accept.
He moves in, and I suppose I'm to move out.
Oh, don't be silly, Alice. There's no question of your... It's Edward. Edward! I don't know what he'll say. Edward, something terrible has happened.
Passed out?
Not passed out, thrown out.
Oh, don't be absurd. Edward, James is coming. Tom and Ethel's son.
What for?
Well, I wrote and told him he could come here.
Then you shouldn't have been so stupid.
Well, it was your suggestion.
Well, that was only to show how sorry we were about Tom and Ethel.
Well, he's coming, and I'm to be sacrificed.
Of course, the boy has been fighting for his country. I suppose we ought to show our gratitude.
Well, there must be some other way.
Well, he may not have anywhere else to go.
Nor have I.
Aunt Alice, if you don't stop saying that, I shall go raving mad.
Well, I think someone might have told me.
I'm telling you.
Daphne, don't speak to your aunt like that.
Oh, well, she's enough to...
Oh, quiet!
Crazy.
All of you! I'm going into the garden to think.
Hello. Go upstairs, Tommy.
Upstairs? But I
Oh,
don't...
never mind. Run along now, there's a good boy.
But I've only just... Do as you're told, can't you? Okay, sweet pie, what's eating you?
Tommy, where do you get these expressions?
George Raft.
Well, I shall have to speak to his mother. Run along now.
Well, what sort of people are they?
Typical devoted family, completely wrapped up in each other. I think I'll feel a bit of an outsider. Tired?
No, not a bit.
Oh.
All right. We'll sit down.
You're a wonderful nurse, Mary.
Jimmy, what are you going to do?
What about you being wonderful?
No, about you getting a job. Have you had any training for anything?
7 years as a killer, but I don't think there'll be much future in that. But there is something I could do if only I could fix it.
What's that?
Well, it sort of helping people.
They said you were a brave man, Captain Wedge.
Rubbish. Who said?
Major Gorton said you always rushed in where angels would take cover.
Oh, he's pulling your leg. Right through the war, I can't remember a time when I wasn't scared stiff. Well, let's talk about it. There's not much time, and anyway, it's going to rain.
Not on your life.
It's going to rain, Mary. Do you realize during all the time we've spent together, you've hardly agreed with anything I've said?
It's been fun, hasn't it?
Yes. See those cows over there all lying on their right side?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a sure sign of rain.
Now you're trying to provoke an argument.
I'm trying to forget I'm going away tomorrow. When are you getting away, Mary?
Soon, I hope.
You'll come to the station, won't you?
No.
Please, Mary.
No, I'll say goodbye this afternoon.
Mary.
Oh, look, the cows have all turned over.
Oh, blast the cows. Mary, look, you must...
Now, Jimmy, let's get this quite clear. I shall not be at the station. Well, I never meant to come.
I wish I could get run over or something.
You're losing your nerve.
I'm losing you. You're right, won't you?
I might.
Well, I'll phone you.
You'll be much too busy for that. When does this goodwill campaign of yours start?
The sooner the better. You're right, what... Oh, I already said that, haven't I? Something about railway stations that makes you say everything twice. Mary, look, I've been meaning to tell you...
Here it is.
Yes. Oh, Mary, I think I'm going to have a relax.
Oh, don't be silly. Get in.
Mary, look, what I was trying to say is, if I can get a home and a job, will you...
Get in and shut the door.
Shut that door!
But Mary, Mary, what I've been wanting to say is that I...
Do you want an accident?
Yes. Mary, Do you mind if we have this window up a bit?
Yes, I do. What do you think I got it down for?
Can't imagine. It's blowing a gale in here.
I like it.
You see? Would you like to see this?
Seen it.
Do you smoke?
No, sir, I do not.
You don't mind if I have one?
I certainly do. There are special compartments.
Oh, but surely nowadays people do...
Light it, and I call the guard.
Don't you ever meet people halfway?
I don't meet people at all if I can help it.
I mean, don't you think it's a good idea to try and live on friendly terms with your neighbors?
I'm thankful to say I have no neighbors, and if I had, I should probably dislike them as much as I dislike casual conversation in railway trains.
I think we've picked a winner for a start.
Lieutenant?
I was not speaking to you, sir. Of course, it's obvious that you'd have to begin in a small way. Take this road, for instance. I should have thought you'd have been on friendly terms with everyone.
You wait until you've seen them.
Well, we've lived here nearly 12 years, and I doubt if I know 6 people to nod to.
Hardly any of them speak to me.
Yes, but that's just shyness. The point is they'd like to.
Right to my foot. They hate each other's guts.
Tommy.
That'll be quite enough from you, young man. I know most of them, of course, from ARP.
Edward was fire watching for nearly 4 years.
Yes. It's a pity ARP doesn't still go on, or something like it.
Good gracious, I should think we'd had enough war to last us a lifetime.
Well, of course we have. But we're slipping back to the same cold, unfriendly sort of attitude that the war broke down. And that's the quickest way to land ourselves in another. Unless everyone honestly tries to get on with his neighbor, it's hopeless to expect nations to do it.
We are getting serious, aren't we?
How long did you say you were staying?
I didn't.
It's a little soon for James to decide, Alice. I suppose you've no one but us, have you?
I had hoped to bring my wife with me.
Your wife?
Oh, we didn't know you were married.
Oh, I'm not, no. That's why I couldn't bring her.
I suppose poor Tom and Ethel left you quite a bit.
I don't know. The solicitor said something about a house somewhere near
How's
here,
the
but
Beckett family today?
No, don't let me disturb you. I just heard your nephew had arrived. Congratulations, my dear fellow, on a safe return. No, don't interrupt the gaiety. There's nothing wrong with the BBC, in moderation. Well, a grand moment for you all, eh? Ah, it's good to see the glow of family affection on all these smiling faces. You mustn't mind my butting in. Very old friend of the family, you know. Must be a quarter of a century I've been christening, marrying, and burying them. What did you say your job was?
I've got to find one yet.
Well, you've come to the right quarter, eh, Beckett?
The vicar is chairman of our rehabilitation.
Oh, yes, we'll find you a job, all right. That's what we're here for. Any particular preferences?
Well, yes. I wanted the opportunity to sort of give people a line. To help them to get their direction straightened out.
Special constable?
No. I'd like to write. If I could get a job on a local paper or...
That shouldn't prove insuperable. When you said help people, I thought I was getting an assistant. That's my job, you know, helping people out. Oh, which reminds me, I have a funeral at 3. Yes, I'll have a word with Williams. He edits the Gazette. I've sent him several youngsters. Well, I really must fly. It's been most enjoyable hearing all your news. Most enjoyable. You must tell me some more of your war experiences with... I mustn't run away with the family plate. No, don't disturb yourselves. I never like disturbing people in their own homes. I can easily let myself out, I assure you. If only I had some more time...
Disturbing people. Disturbing people? What people?
Well, the chap over there's trying to read.
Don't make me laugh. Listen to the shindy he's got on.
Well, ours is a bit loud.
Well, I want to hear it.
Well, he might want to hear his.
No one wants to hear a row like that.
Be reasonable. Wars have started about less than this.
This one's been going some time.
Morning. Good morning. I'd like to speak to you. I said I'd like to speak to you.
Better ask your friend on the percussion.
Uncle! Oh, just a minute. Uncle!
What do you... How dare you?
What's the matter? Can't I mend my hut
without throwing things at people?
What are you talking about?
Hey, my husband will teach you.
Don't blast your husband.
Well, of all the disgusting...
Look, I'm awfully sorry.
I'll keep out of this. I've had quite a day.
Yes, you keep out of this. I can deal with this old...
Oh, it was a young one. I saw him
Object is a grapefruit. A grapefruit.
Oh, no, it wasn't. It was one of his rotten tomatoes.
They're the finest tomatoes in the district.
It's that woman again. She's always making trouble.
She nuisance with your everlasting boogie-woogie.
You mind your own business.
Don't you realize it's Sunday?
Look out!
Get the police. We must get him out at once.
Get who out? What are you talking about?
This nephew of yours.
Well, he's your nephew,
Now,
too.
control yourself, Alice. What is all this?
Mrs. Peake's son says it's the wound in his head.
In heaven's name, woman, what is?
Well, this thing he's got, he's not safe.
Mrs. Peake's son? Why, he's perfect.
No, James.
Now, let's understand this. Do you mean to say that that place he was in was a mental hospital?
Well, it must have been. He talks of nothing but goodwill to the neighbors. That shows he's not normal.
And all that business in the garden this morning.
Yes, and last night he was talking about good and evil. I ask you, good and evil in 1948.
Perhaps it's religious mania, like missionaries, I mean. That would account for him going about upsetting people.
He's not in, is he?
No, he's gone for a walk with Daphne along by the canal.
The canal!
Alice, don't scare me like that.
Do you think he'll chuck Daff in the water?
Be quiet, Tommy. We must go and find them at once. Edward, quickly. Oh, I ought never to have allowed her to go out.
Right from the start, I said something would happen.
It's easy to be wise after the event.
Be too late anyway. They've been gone
Be
since...
quiet, Tommy. One word more from you, and you'll go straight to bed.
I keep telling you I like going to bed.
Oh.
Now, come along, come along.
To think he was in the house all night. Why, anything might have happened.
Alice, you flatter yourself.
Can't live with your own family without
Shouldn't be doing it at your age. Too much for you.
I can see him. Daff isn't there.
Not there?
I do hope we're not too late.
What's he doing?
Pinching a barge.
What?
It's a beauty. Blue and red.
Never mind about barges. What about your daughter?
What about me?
There's Daff over there. Daphne! She's not even wet.
Are you all right, dear?
Of course, why?
The gates! The gates! Look out!
Afternoon. What on earth's he doing?
It's something to do with world peace.
Well, I only offered to give her a rest. She looked exhausted. It's a rotten job for a woman.
Ah, it is.
Yes, I don't know what sort of man you are anyway. Sit back there with your feet up and let her pull you as well.
You don't. Then
No.
I'll show you.
And I'll show you, you... I tell you what...
Well, I think you've done enough good for one day.
Only 3 summonses so far. Assault, malicious damage, and provoking a breach of the peace. But as a method of promoting goodwill between neighbors, there seems to be something wanting.
In any case, it's very bad for Tommy.
It was super. Everybody chucking things.
Now, that's enough.
Wish we had to do like that every day.
Quiet, Tommy.
Of course, you're entitled to your views, but we would rather you put them into practice somewhere else, that's all.
Here, here. Please leave this to Edward, Alice. It's very painful.
I only
Yes,
said...
and it was in very bad taste. Go on, Edward.
Well, not really much more to be said, except that we were very fond of poor Tom and Ethel.
Yes, of course you were. I'll go and pack.
Oh, I almost forgot. The vicar's made an appointment for you. Just a minute. Yes. 12:30 sharp, Gazette office. That's in the High Street.
12:30, but I'd arranged for a long-distance call at that time.
Well, if you want the job, go and see Mr. Williams. The vicar says, if your nephew makes a good impression, I think there's every chance of employment. I hope, by the way, that he's a teetotaler, as Williams has very decided views on the subject. Kindest regards, sincerely yours.
I see. Thanks.
I hope that's the end of goodwill in this house.
Oh, hello, miss. Miss, are we ever going to go... What? Well, of course there's somebody there. It's a hospital. No, I can't wait. I've been here nearly half an hour now. Hello? Oh, hello. Is that Carrington? Is that the hospital? Yes, well, can you speak up a bit, please? I want Carrington 4232. Oh, no, sorry, as you were. 3242, yes. Oh, my... Hello. Is that Carrington? Yeah. Well, I want a personal call to Sister Layton. What? No, Carrington, I've just told you. Don't you know your own number? Oh, I'm sorry, matron. This is Wedge, matron. Wedge. I'm shouting now. Yeah, I was in Block I, Row B. Row B? No, Langham. It's just... oh, it doesn't matter. I wanted to speak to Sister Layton. Layton. L-E-I-G-A... What? Oh, hello, Mary. I thought you said matron. Yes, this is Jimmy. I can't quite get that. Oh, John who? Oh, job. Yes, well, I've got it. Well, practically. Mary, and I've got a house. Yes, well, you said that when I'd got both of those that you might marry me.
He's asking someone to marry him.
He's been long enough making up his mind.
Hello? Hello, operator. Finished? No, I was just... Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, you can't do this sort of thing. He's not your waiter.
Oh, I'll do it.
Be quiet.
I'll do it.
Shut up.
Will you run your house? Now, shut up.
What's going on? You ought to be ashamed of yourself trying to do this. You won't settle anything. You ought to be ashamed. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Fight? Yes. No. Fighting won't settle anything.
Yes, it would. It will settle him.
No way to go on.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, we took the bridge anyway.
What? Oh, no, never mind that now, sir. Oh, what a mess. What on earth have you been up to?
Yes, well, I stopped to fight.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Todd, what are you doing here?
Well, I thought I'd look you up, sir. Your people told me where you'd gone.
Yes, have I? Oh, what's that? 1 o'clock? Oh, I've got an appointment for a job. It's terribly important.
A job?
Yes.
But you can't go like that.
I've got to.
But what about your coat?
I can't help it.
Look, sir, you can't go in like that. But at least get the blood off your face anyway. Here, see for yourself. Look in the glass.
See you after.
Righto, sir. Cross the road. Red line. Right.
Mr. Williams, appointment.
With Mr. Williams?
12:30.
But it's after 1 now.
I was held up.
Who shall I say?
A Wedge.
No, I mean your name.
The name's Wedge.
Wedge. Well, will you wait there a minute? This way, please.
Mr. I believe the vicar.
Yes, he did.
I'm afraid I'm a bit late.
What's 3/4 of an hour to a busy editor? Just what were you proposing to do for us?
Well, that's what I came along here to find out.
The answer shouldn't be difficult. You're a journalist, Mr.
No.
No writing of any kind?
No. Well, yes, I once wrote a book.
Publisher?
Oh, wasn't published.
Interesting history.
Yes, I know it doesn't sound very good, but there is something I might be able to do if you'd give me a chance. It's something I thought about out there and in hospital, and I feel so strongly about it that I believe I can make other people sit up and think about it too.
Really? And what is this pet subject of yours?
Peace.
Peace? Yes, well, that's quite a subject. Just how were you proposing to secure it?
Well, no, I couldn't get very far by myself.
Oh, come.
But it's the most important thing in the world today, and it's got to begin somewhere.
So why not in Langham, eh?
Well, yes, well, why not? The people here are the same as they are everywhere else. They've got to live alongside or boxed up with other people, and if they can't get along with their next-door neighbor, they won't get along with strangers. And they've just got to get along with strangers, millions of them everywhere on Earth. Instead of that, we're putting the shutters up again, the famous English Wall of Reserve. During the war, it broke down a bit, but it's beginning all over again. It's something that makes the Great Wall of China look like a very small wall.
A vivid simile.
But there's still time to do something.
Quite. No doubt there's something in what you say. There must be in all that lot. Faith is an extraordinary thing, Mr. Makes people believe they can do astonishing things. For example, it makes our friend the vicar send every Tom, Dick, and Harry who's discharged from the forces along to this office, in the belief that I'll entrust them with highly skilled work for which they're totally unsuited. This is about the 20th time he's done it. But it's the first, and I hope the last time he sends me someone who's apparently been previously employed at a slaughterhouse.
Yes, well, I got involved.
I gather you're not a teetotaler.
Oh, yes, practically.
This paper, Mr. happens to enjoy a certain prestige with the more respectable public of Langham. We simply cannot afford to be represented by someone who conveys such an overpowering suggestion that he takes his bath at the brewery.
Well, I'd like to explain.
The only explanation of any interest to me is why the vicar thinks fit to waste my time interviewing a disgusting, inebriated...
Just a minute, Mr. Williams. I can take a lot.
That's more than obvious.
But I'm not taking...
You're taking that door, sir. And don't you ever dare to come back
All right. Perhaps it's lucky for both of us that I can see your point of view. But it may help any other chap that applies for a job for you to know that you've made a very bad mistake. It's a mistake anybody could make. Even an editor.
Don't stand there telling me I make mistakes.
Mr. Williams, I have not had a single drink since I got home on Tuesday. But I'm going to have one now. In fact, having seen you, I'm going to get stinking.
Get out. Get out of this office before I... Come in. Well?
Are you all right, Mr. Williams?
Of course I'm all right. What's the matter with you?
Well, I've just seen someone who looked as if he'd been fighting or drinking.
They are the occupations the Vicar of St. John's considers the proper training for journalism.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, never mind. What have you got there?
Huh? Oh, it's from the PA.
It can wait.
It's very urgent.
So's my lunch. I'm an hour late.
But, Mr. Williams, I've no one to cover it until Jackson gets back.
You ought to be back. What is it?
Oh, they want us to interview a new VC, the Captain Gladstone Wedge.
Well, send Taylor. God bless my soul, anyone I think. What did you say?
I didn't say.
The name, man, the VC. Did you say Wedge?
Yes, Captain Gladstone Wedge. Believes staying relations Arkwright Road.
Get me some sandwiches and a cup of coffee.
Yes, Mr. Williams.
Send one of the girls to the inquest and get Jackson back. Send Taylor to Arkwright Road and tell him to bring Wedge back here. If not there, tell him to keep going till he finds him.
Yes, Mr. Williams.
And go down yourself and see if he's still anywhere about.
Who, Taylor?
No, Wedge.
What's he like?
He's like that person you saw me throw out of here 2 minutes ago.
Yes, Mr. Williams?
Everybody asleep out there? Get me the Vicar of St. John's. If he's not at home, find him.
Yes, I was onto a good thing, all right. Bit of bad luck, that's all. Might just as easy turn out the other way. But I'll let you have it back, sir. Do you now get going again?
Well, forget about it. Have another drink.
Oh, won't say no, sir.
The same.
Matter of fact, I'm on to something really good now. It just depends if I can get the capital together. You see, the idea...
Well, never mind about the details. Can you make an honest living at it?
Honest? You don't understand, sir. This is the goods.
How much?
I wouldn't let you take a chance on me again, sir, not after.
I said how much?
Oh, I think I could get an interest for about 150.
Well, until I've seen my solicitor, I've no idea what I have.
Wouldn't hear of it, sir. I wouldn't even have mentioned it if I thought...
Yes, you would. You came along especially to mention it.
Came along it... Look, sir, you saved me life, and I'll always...
Make the most of it, yes, I know. You're not bad, Todd, you old basket. Have another drink and stop calling me sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Look, I'm not used to this. We'll have to be the last one.
Very good, sir.
And we'll go back to rum.
Yes, sir.
To think that I've had a VC in my room.
10:15? I hope nothing's happened.
Do you think you ought to go to the police station?
Oh, I'll give him a few more minutes. Listen. What's that?
Did you turn out the hall light?
I believe I did.
He's taking his things.
Well, do something about it quickly. Ask him to come in.
Oh, James, would you come in? Just for a minute.
Come in, my boy, come in. That is your aunt and I were...
What he means is, we hope you won't take any notice of what happened this morning.
It was all a misunderstanding.
Thank you, I don't need prompting. It was all a misunderstanding.
Won't you sit down?
The house is plenty big enough for all of us. It would be ridiculous.
Of course it would. Let bygones be bygones.
Yeah, let me get you a drink. You must need one.
After all, you are one of the family.
I only came for my things.
But you're not going.
Oh, I wouldn't dream of...
You told me...
Yes, I know, but all that...
You told me to get out.
Boy, we didn't
So I'm getting out.
James, we're asking you to stay.
I don't want to stay. Not in a house where people snap at each other and make cracks at children. That can't crack back.
If you think Tommy can't crack back... you can have my room.
Aunt Alice, you can keep your room and you can... Yes.
What does he mean?
He's going. Stop him. Stop him.
You keep saying stop him. You stop him.
James. Listen, why not wait till tomorrow? There's no sense in being hasty. Here, let me take that.
James, don't go like this. This is your home.
Told me to get out.
Yes, I know. But you see, well, everything's quite different now.
What's different?
I honestly don't think he knows. James, you won the Victoria Cross.
Oh, baloney.
You should have let me handle it.
Now, look, I want you to drive me to my house. Can you do that?
Yes, sir. Where is it?
I don't know.
You don't know where your own house is?
No, it's a problem we'll have to face. But I ask you as man to man, can you do it?
Well, I can do it if anybody knows where it is.
No, now you're hedging. I want a straight answer to a... No, wait a minute. The solicitor knew where it was because he wrote it down. Put it on... Yes. It's, £20. No.
Careful, sir, that's a cheque.
Now, don't be ridiculous. He wouldn't make notes on the back of a cheque. Cheques are things that you take care of. Let's see, no, 19 Celandine Avenue. 19 Celandine Avenue, yes, that's it.
"19 Celandine Avenue."
You don't believe me? You think I'm a liar, don't you?
It's all right, sir.
Now, look, if you're going to call me a liar, I'm going to... Exciting, isn't it? Fish?
And that's not all.
You know what I think? I think there are people living here. Is this the right place?
Well, it said 19 on the gate, so we better try the back.
Sandy?
And what do you think you're doing?
Oh, good evening. I've come to see the house.
You must want something to do.
Yes, well, I was thinking of living here.
Oh, you've got a hope. There's 19 as it is.
19?
The council won't let no more in.
Well, they can't stop me.
They can stop anybody, mate. Well, Parkinson's been trying to get us out of here for weeks, but they got nowhere to shove us.
There's 1,200 waiting for houses.
Oh. Hello, you still here? You can leave the bags down there.
What about the fare, sir?
Yes. May I come up?
You are up, aren't you?
Yes.
You won't get no accommodation.
May I come in?
Oh, Lummy, you're in, aren't you?
My name's Wedge. I've just come out of the
What's
army.
that?
I've just come out of the army.
No, the name.
Of Wedge.
Not Captain Gladstone Wedge.
Yes, but people usually call me James.
Do you hear that? It's him.
Can't be.
It is a Captain Gladstone Wedge. That's right, isn't it, sir?
Yes, but I don't see what...
What did I tell you? I knew it. Ah, you kids, go on, hop it out of here. Go on, get out of the way. Oi, Fred, Mabel, come up here at once, will you? Quick, all of you, put a jerk in it. Sit down over here, so... No, over here, if you don't mind, sir. A glass of beer.
Oh, no, thank you, no.
What, a nice cup of tea?
Yes.
Here, Ma, make the gentleman a nice cup of tea. Go on, you kids, get out of it, I tell you. Go on, hop it, get out of it.
Is that right? You're not kidding?
I don't know what it's all about. Do you?
Well, you're being him.
Oh. Like, take your coat off, sir. My tea won't be half a jiff. I didn't mention it, sir. My name's Buck. This is my pal, Fred Hobson.
Oh, how do you do?
Evening, sir. This is my missus.
It's a pleasure, I'm sure.
I don't know what to say. I haven't known so much warmth since I got back. I'd no idea that tenants felt this way about their landlords.
Landlord? Did you say landlord, sir? Why, the captain's our landlord. Can you beat it?
Why, we'll all have our photos in the paper now.
Why?
Well, because of you, sir.
Nobody knows me.
Ah, get him, nobody knows him. Oh, turn it up, see, you can't kid us, you know.
Oh, it's in all the evening papers.
Yes, there ain't a soul in Langham what don't know it now.
You had seen the papers, Mr. Major, General?
Your tea, sir.
Oh, thank you.
How you like it, sir?
Yes, that's a very nice thing. Tea? Something funny?
Yes.
Huh?
straight from heaven, I tell you. The only person in this town with a hate of the publicity value when he falls right into our lap.
And you throw him downstairs. What makes you think he'll play?
He'll do what he's paid to do. He's on our staff, or will be in a minute when he comes in, if he comes in.
Mr. Parkinson doesn't want the Gazette to appear to be running it.
The Gazette won't be running it. All we'll be doing is to offer him the courtesy of our columns, gratitude to civic hero, etc., etc.
Well, we don't care how you do it, but these protests about the amalgamation of the two towns must be silenced. Mr. Parkinson...
Look, Parkinson wants this town taken over by Langham Courtney, doesn't he? Well, the people here don't want to be taken over. Try to rush them and they'll say nuts, and between ourselves they'll be right.
I wouldn't say that.
Of course you wouldn't, but you know it's true.
The point is whether Wedge is the right man to persuade them.
As long as he doesn't realize what he's doing, yes. He'll think he's putting over his crackpot theories, goodwill, good neighbors, and all the rest of it. And by the time the people have soaked that in, they'll be ripe for an astonishing discovery. That opposition to Langham Courtney is practically synonymous with the end of peace on Earth. Of course, there'll be no reference to amalgamation till we're ready for a public meeting.
I don't like it. He's a stranger here. I doubt if they take it from a kid like that.
They'll take anything from a VC. They're sick of all the old drears we've been dishing up. Here's something new, young, romantic, they'll lap him up. Believe me, the VC is still something. Properly handled, of course. Come in.
Captain Wedge.
Ah, there you are. Come in, come in. This is Beauty Bend.
What do
He looks after Mr. Parkinson's affairs.
Whose?
Mr. Parkinson is the proprietor of the Gazette.
Isn't he also the chairman of the council?
Chairman of pretty nearly everything. Very influential gentleman, Mr. Parkinson. Here, sit down. Make yourself comfortable. Yes, very influential.
Look, I got your letter, but after yesterday, I don't quite
Yesterday's
understand.
forgotten. The past unsigned for, but the future sure. I was telling Beauty some of your ideas, Captain. He was, thrilled. Yes, thrilled. Eh, Beauty? You see, he's as thrilled as I am, Captain Wedge.
Look, couldn't we drop the captain? I'm a civilian now.
Oh, that'd be most unwise. Captain Wedge, VC. That's how we shall announce you to our readers.
I hope you won't.
Oh, yes, we must get down to business. Now, the offer is set out in my letter. Weekly article, suitable publicity on the announcement, and, oh, yes, you'll let us have a short description of how you won your decoration. About 3,000 words.
I'll do nothing of the kind. I never heard such a lot.
Now, Captain Wedge, modesty in its place is a fine thing, a beautiful thing, but our readers want to know how they won their VC. They look on it as Langham's VC, you know.
Well, they can have it. I'm not writing about myself. Let's get that clear.
I'll leave you to settle the details. Mr. Parkinson will want to know how things stand.
So just a minute. I don't see where Parkinson comes in this.
Wedge will have to give an undertaking, of course, to make no statement prejudicial to Mr. Parkinson's interests.
What's that?
Oh, just the usual clause. Nothing to worry about.
But I don't know what his interests are.
That's all right. Williams does.
But look here,
Forget it. These businessmen and their contracts. Incapable of understanding that to the artist, people like ourselves, it's the things of the spirit. Now, about salary...
Look, I haven't agreed to...
Oh, tut. We shan't quarrel about that. Now, the contract's in hand, and it's my pleasant duty and privilege to welcome you to the Gazette as our most distinguished contributor. You'll reconsider the idea of doing an article on winning the VC, won't you?
Not on your life. I'm not writing about myself.
Quite. I expect we'll manage to cook up something. Now, after the investiture, you'll see our photographer outside the palace.
Just here, please. Just a bit closer. That's right. Thank you.
I wonder what they'd say if they knew.
They knew what?
Well, what was in them trucks?
Oh, the ammo, you mean?
Ammo? No. What was under it?
Why, what was under it?
Just hold it a minute.
Likers.
What?
Cameras. 14 blooming dozen of them, so help me.
You...
No, we'll just have one more. You looked a bit surprised.
A bit?
Thank you very much. You still looked a little odd, but I think it'll get by.
Yes, thank you. Look, how did they get there?
Well, it was quite a fiddle, that little lark. You remember, you noticed I was a bit anxious.
Anxious? Take things pretty smoothly, I must say. Look, if I'd have known there'd been 14 dozen cameras...
Only 5 dozen. You blew up the others with that grenade, and was I mad?
5 or 50 dozen, it doesn't make any difference. Do you realize that I've got a VC for running cameras?
Bless your heart, so you got it for saving the ammo and saving me. You didn't know what was on board.
You know what I do now. They don't usually give VCs for black market offenses. To do something about it.
What can you do? Ring the bell and ask His Majesty if he'll take it back?
Don't be ridiculous.
Ah, it's not worth worrying about. Little thing like that, sir. I'm not worrying.
Rutty well should be. You haven't got much conscience.
I didn't make much out of it.
If I'd have known about this before, you wouldn't be here, Sergeant Todd. In fact, you wouldn't even be Sergeant Todd.
No, sir. Oh, well, here's my car. I've got to go.
We'll have this out some other time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Good luck, sir.
pretty well, aren't you?
Nothing grumble. Can I give you a lift anywhere?
No, I'll take the bus. I wouldn't feel right in that.
I feel all right, Nick. George, anywhere you like.
Hurry along, please. Let me help you with that. You going far?
Hold tight.
Hey, what's the game?
What?
That happens to be my missus.
What about it? I only offered...
Oh, yeah? We've heard that one before. I know your sort, mate.
Well, that'll be quite enough of that.
Oh, it will it? Well, I'll knock your flipping block off you, young...
Now, look here, this isn't a...
Here. Half a mo. That's the VC you got there.
Oh, thanks. I was going to ask somebody what it was.
I'm sorry, mate. Straight I am. If I'd noticed that before, I wouldn't have said what I did.
Why, what difference does it make?
What difference?
Do you say I insult your wife and you want to knock my block off merely because a bit of ribbon happens to be a certain shade of red? You say you're sorry. If my offer to help your wife was offensive, then it still is offensive, no matter what I happen to have on my chest.
Yeah. Maybe you're right.
Yes.
It's no good, it won't go. Oh, no, we want the other bit. Where is it? Downstairs. Check out that thing, I say.
Can't we leave that just for now?
We said we'd see you was all right. We'll do it, so help me.
We've got to finish this for the Gazette.
What do you mean, they're going to print it?
I hope so.
But you'll be flooded out.
Then we can mop it up.
Oh, Peter.
I must concentrate.
Here we are, sir. That's the lot. Anything else, sir?
Yes, a little piece.
A little piece of what, sir?
A little piece of quiet.
Very good, sir.
What is it now?
Oh, only one of the kids fell downstairs, sir.
Well, that's the third time today.
Yeah, they're used to it, sir.
Yes, but I'm not. Has he hurt himself?
No, he's all right. The smaller they are, the better they bounce. Oh, don't let them disturb you, sir.
Well, it's not so easy. These boys going on, it's impossible to do any work at all. A little control would be at least some help. But you here again? Go on away. Shoot them everywhere like mice. Oh, blast. Hello.
You busy?
Mary, what are you doing here? Why don't you let me know? Where have you come from?
Well, I'm staying with some friends near here.
What?
It's original, isn't it?
Yes.
It's kind of fresh.
Yes. Oh, it's stopping. I didn't want you to see it like this. Not till the people had moved out downstairs.
Do all those people live here? Why, there was some kind of outing.
It's awful, isn't it? I'm sorry it's like this.
Oh, it has its points, I expect. At least nobody can say it looks lived in. Oh, well, it's always interesting to see how the creative artist works. The sound of running water, bare feet.
Oh, this isn't art. I trod in a basin.
Oh. Well, they've certainly given you a splash in here, haven't they?
Have they?
How Captain Wedge saved my life and won the VC.
What?
Look at the beautiful picture, too.
Perishing sergeant. I'll knock the daylights out of him for this.
It's not that awful man who came to see you in hospital.
Oh, well, he's all right, really. He's first-class soldier.
First-class shyster, you mean? He always looks at you round a corner. And don't tell me you're still lending him money.
No, well, I give it to him now. We both got tired of pretending that he's ever going to pay me back.
But why help a man like that?
Because if I don't, he'll help himself and go to prison, and if I do, in time, he may develop a conscience.
Yes, or a talent for the clavichord, but it isn't awfully likely. Oh, Jimmy, you're such a child. You need somebody to look after you.
Well, that's what I've been telling you.
I don't mean that. Children don't have wives. They have governesses.
Mary, they have nurses.
Well, I'm not a nurse now. I'm out.
Oh, no, well, then we...
Oh, by the way, you haven't told me how it's going yet.
What?
The Goodwill campaign.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Been making any contacts lately?
A few.
There's a nasty cut over your right eye.
Oh, that? Oh, I slipped. Mary, look, if I could find somewhere decent to live, we could get married.
Yes, and I could watch you punching peace and goodwill into people and tying up the injured. No, Jimmy. It's too much like my old job. I've told you, I want a quiet life. And I want some tea.
Tea?
Yes. You have it in cups.
Each time you have a difference with your neighbor and refuse to recognize that he also has his point of view, you are in effect driving one more nail in the national coffin. Peace will only come to men of goodwill, and that begins not in the conference room, but in the back garden. Magnificent, I agree with every word.
You must be very clever, you know.
It makes me quite proud to be his aunt.
Pity you were all so hasty.
Oh, what about you?
The young man has talent and courage. I hope you've kept the back numbers.
Kept them. I made this especially.
Oh.
That was an odd photograph.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 3 months without a word from him. You ought to call.
You seem to forget his last word to me was...
No, I've told you it was baloney.
It was very nearly something else, Edward, and you know what.
Yes, well, you ought to call.
Oh, hello. I wasn't expecting you today.
Do you mind?
No. No, of course not, dear. Please, naturally.
Anything wrong?
Yes. That Parkinson.
What, again?
Yes, again. These are new low-end stinkers, Mary. Wants to take another pot at those poor devils downstairs. Trying to get the council to turn them out.
You too?
No, I was going out anyway. Oh, forgot to tell you, I found a flat. It's big enough for 2.
Notice anything different here?
What? No. Looks as if you've been kicking it around a bit.
Yes. What was that about a flat?
Oh, yes, it's big enough for 2.
Oh. Who's the other half?
You, of course.
Well, of all the proposals I've had so far, that's the most delicate.
Well, we get married now, we can move in right away.
We could. Jimmy, has it occurred to you that when a girl gets married, she wants, among other things, a honeymoon?
Yes, I suppose so.
Shall I tell you my idea of a honeymoon? Starting with the wedding, which of course is in a church, with lots of flowers and lovely music. A slap-up wedding breakfast with dozens of guests, unlimited champagne, and a huge iced cake, 4 tiers high. After which, the happy couple are escorted to the waiting car and swept off to the station, taking with them an unforgettable picture of the happy, laughing faces of their friends. Naturally, everything has been booked in advance. Their tickets and their seat reservations on the train. Paris, Monte Carlo, Venice, Naples. The world is theirs. Excitement, color, romance. That night, in the luxury of their hotel, they dine, and after sampling the gaieties of the city, the lift whirls them up to the bridal suite, where the bride's trousseau is displayed. It is so exquisite, she has the greatest difficulty in making a decision. Time ceases to exist and becomes a row of asterisks. The days can scarcely be distinguished from one another.
I suppose marriage will practically die out, won't it?
Except for a few idiots like you. And me.
Oh, Mary, you're wonderful. What made you change your mind?
I didn't. I made up my mind to marry you way back in the hospital.
Why?
Oh, partly because you really want to do a bit of good in the world. And partly, yes, I think largely because of Major Brown.
What are you talking about?
Those days when you wouldn't come out with me. And I knew you wanted to. You made feeble excuses. I know now where you went, Jimmy.
I didn't go anywhere.
Oh, yes, you did. You spent hours and hours listening to Major Brown, biggest crashing bore in the hospital, whom everyone else avoided like the plague.
Oh, poor devil was lonely.
It took a good man to do it, Jimmy. And as good men are hard to find, I thought I'd grab myself one. Heaven help me.
And the obvious time for a public meeting about goodwill is Christmas Eve.
Yes, and no one would come.
Exactly, so we'll have it the night before.
Mr. Parkinson wants Sir William Whittle for the chair.
Listen, nobody's going to turn out on a cold night to hear Whittle. If they come at all, it'll be to hear a VC or to see what a VC looks like.
Why on earth didn't you stop him from going on this honeymoon?
Stop him? I encouraged him. Adds romance. Besides, he won't be back till just before the public meeting, which gives him less time to raise objections.
Objections to what?
Well, the posters, for one thing, may not be quite what he's expecting.
Leave your prejudices at home, eh? Call her missus won't like that.
Here you are, sir. Which token, sixpence?
Which what?
Which VC, sir? Look, speaking to the town hall tonight, in person.
Now what?
Trying to swing one on me.
Who?
I don't know yet. Using the meeting to boost amalgamation. Distorting my articles, turning me into a cheap stunt.
All right, dear, you just won't turn up, that's all.
Won't I? Don't think I'm taking this lying down.
No, dear.
It's intolerable.
Yes, dear.
Just time to get to the flat.
Our new home. I'm glad we shall just see it.
What?
Before you lose your job, I mean.
You wouldn't want them to get away with this, would you?
No, dear.
Well, then. A lot of baskets.
Yes, dear.
And for these reasons, I therefore suggest that we bury the pipe of the hatchet, and smoke the pipe of peace with our neighbors in Langham Courtney, combining with them to form a single happy family.
I'm sure we're all very grateful to Sir William. And now it is my duty and very great pleasure
This'll be him now, yeah.
Someone I'm sure you have all been impatient to welcome. Our gallant fellow townsman, Captain Gladstone Wedge, VC.
Our boy, you know.
Really?
Parents killed in a raid, and we adopted him.
Really?
Captain Wedge.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, hello. This is the first time I've ever tried to make a speech, and it'll probably be the last. But in view of what you've already endured, I'll try and make it snappy. It seems to me to boil down to the old idea that there can only be peace where there's genuine goodwill. And that's what I thought we were going to discuss tonight. It's something I've written about in the Gazette and something I believe in 100%. But what I don't believe in is turning goodwill into a racket. Now, you didn't come here to listen to me.
Oh, yes, we did, didn't we? Yes.
Most of you didn't. But in view of the publicity there's been, you may feel that I'm supporting the idea that goodwill means your town being taken in by a neighboring town. Well, I'm not, and let's get that straight. For you to be taken in by Langham Courtney may or may not be a good thing. I wouldn't know. But for you to be taken in by well-known residents of your own town is a very bad thing.
You supported the amalgamation yourself in the Gazette.
I've never written a word either for it or against it.
It's on record, Mr. Chairman. The articles are signed.
Statements were inserted after I'd read the proofs. That doesn't mean that
Don't you read your own papers, huh?
No, I think it stinks.
Very serious accusations have been made.
Just a minute, please. I haven't finished yet.
You said enough.
Stand down.
I just want to say this. I agreed to come to this meeting tonight to see if we couldn't get together and start something.
You've started something, all right.
Something like I outlined in the Gazette. I wanted to see whether you were dreading the idea of another war as much as I am.
Wedge VC afraid? Surely not.
Afraid? Why, the thought of it scares the pants off me.
I must ask the Speaker to confine himself to it.
Just give me another 2 minutes, will you? Until recently, war meant a lot of old men sending a lot of young men out to fight. They thought, heaven help them, that it was worth it. The old men, I mean, not the young ones. Nobody asked them what they thought. A lot of them didn't even have the privilege of voting on their country's affairs. They just had the privilege of dying for it. But in the last war, the old men shared that privilege, and women and even the children. The numbers were bad enough, but nothing to what they would be next time. Well, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to sit back and say, isn't it awful, and hope somebody else will do something, or are we going to get cracking and do something now to prevent it? Now, while there's still time.
I agree, sir, but be more explicit.
I will. If the people in one little town like ours were able to sink their petty differences, to help one another, to work together as a community, then if they really put their backs into it, we should be able to show that... we ought to be able to show that goodwill is not something that's confined to one day in 365, not something that you give the kids pennies not to sing about. If we could do that, then there's no limit. It could spread to other towns, while the country's even. Of course, it would need some adjustment, but then so would an atom bomb. There's got to be a beginning somewhere, and I'd like to see it begin right here.
These nebulous ideas of yours are all very...
Good heavens, they're not my ideas. They were discussed at the UNESCO conference by some of the greatest minds of all nations. People who command universal respect. Not long-winded nobodies like the bunch of us up here tonight.
You ought to be ashamed.
Let him finish. That's our fair play.
I've told you what I thought this meeting was for. Instead of that, speaker after speaker stood up and told you that goodwill means Langham Courtney. Not because they give a tinker's cuss for goodwill, but because they've got their fingers in a lot of little local pies. And mean to pull a fast one on you and make a packet out of it.
Your behavior's absolutely outrageous.
The whole thing's just political.
You young idiot, you'll wreck the whole thing.
What did you say?
Who paid you to put that stuff across?
Quickly, let's get out of here.
Peace and goodwill. That's what we want. Peace and goodwill.
Well, now what do we do? Open a nursing home? It ought to pay. You knock 'em cold, I nurse 'em back to health.
Something seems to have gone a little bit wrong somewhere, doesn't it?
Darling, you do exaggerate.
Just the mention of peace and goodwill makes everybody want to fight.
Oh, perhaps it's the way you put it. Do it my way or else.
Never said that.
No, dear. You just assume that everyone else agrees with you. If they don't, you gently knock them down.
Well, that's not true. If I try to help someone, it has exactly the same result.
Most people resent being helped.
Stop fiddling. What about that woman on the barge I told you about? How do you explain that?
Oh, perhaps she liked pulling barges. Maybe she wanted to keep fit or something.
Downright cruelty.
I had a squirrel once in one of those cages with a revolving wheel.
What's that got to do with it?
Well, my brother said that was downright cruelty. And he put it in a rabbit hutch, and it died.
All right. What's the answer, then? If it's not goodwill, what is it?
Darling, don't look at me as if I was Mrs. Molotov.
Mary, do you think my ideas are bunk?
No, dear. I think maybe they're a little lofty. I must say, everything seems to conspire to hold you down. You're a sort of daring young man on a grounded trapeze.
Well, I'm not giving up. In spite of everything, I still believe that goodwill between neighbors is something that works. I'll give them a practical demonstration with our own neighbors. In fact, I'll start tomorrow.
Christmas Eve?
That's the best time, isn't it?
I don't know. Hospital's a short start.
No, I'm serious. It's a good chance to get acquainted, and I can call on them all in turn and wish them a happy Christmas.
Uh-huh. I'll order the iodine. In bulk.
Fights were soon in progress in various parts of the hall, and 11 people received medical attention. It's disgraceful. I always said the stuff he wrote was dangerous. The boy's insane.
What did I tell you? I don't know how we'll ever face the neighbors. And that woman saying bravo in public.
Well, VC or no VC, I'm glad it wasn't done from here.
Hello. Yes? Uncle John? No, but he'll be back any moment. No, he hasn't been to the office yet. But he'll lose his job, all right. Haven't you seen the paper? Apostle of Goodwill causes biggest free-for-all in town's history. Yes, but no worse than any other men. Oh, that's sweet of you, darling. But he mustn't know we fixed it. Fine. After Christmas? He's coming now. Bye.
Dear old lady on that side couldn't be more friendly. Oh, she was a bit upset, though. She was going to see her sister and had just heard she couldn't take a dog with her. I said we'd look after it over the holiday. That all right with you?
Yes, surely.
Dog and biscuits arriving in a minute.
Oh, somebody telephoned for you. It sounded like a job. They wanted to know if you were still on the Gazette.
Oh, did they now? Was it, my speech?
I think it must have been. They'll ring and fix an appointment after the holiday.
Goodwill's in the air tonight. Now for the other side. Good evening. Is the owner at home?
You selling something?
No. Yes, Goodwill.
Beg pardon?
Well, it's Christmas Eve, you know, and we've just moved in next door.
Mr. Parkinson doesn't see...
Parkinson? Not the proprietor of the Gazette.
Well, what of it?
Well, in that case, I don't want to say anything. Yes. Yes, I must. It's more important that I see Mr. Parkinson than anyone.
Well, I don't know. What name shall I say?
Oh, Wedge.
No, the name.
The name is Wedge.
Yes. Sir. This way. Excuse me, sir.
Shut the door.
Yes, sir.
Well, cut me into little pieces.
What did you say?
We've met before, Mr. Parkinson, in a train.
You're Wedge.
That's right, I work for you.
Work for me? Last night you wrecked a public meeting for me.
Yes, well, that was only
and
because...
you hit my agent.
Yes, well, I'd like to explain about that meeting. When it was suggested that I should go to the town hall
I understand that you hit him extremely hard.
I did. I'm sorry, but he asked for it.
No need to apologize. For years I've been hoping somebody would do it.
You have?
But I wanted that amalgamation to go through, Mr. Wedge. And I'd like to know how you had
So
the
it was you that altered my articles in the Gazette and used my name and kept me in the dark about that meeting.
I don't want to listen to you.
No, but you're going to. The nasty, dirty, mean little bit of wire pulling.
Wire pulling?
Well, it's nothing compared to the way you've hounded those poor devils in 19 Celandine Avenue.
19 Celandine Avenue is no concern of yours.
Oh, no, I only own it, that's all.
You what?
It doesn't matter. What does matter is that you give those poor devils a break. What have they ever done to you that makes you want to hound them?
I don't propose to discuss my interest with you.
Two of those men in Celandine Avenue, Mr. Parkinson, have just spent 6 years protecting your interests. And every time they get a roof over their heads, you show your gratitude by kicking them out. I understand that you're a big shot round here, Mr. Parkinson. But you look pretty small stuff to me.
Take your hands off me and get out.
We're neighbors now, Mr. Parkinson, whether you like it or not. I only came here this evening to bring you our wishes for a happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
You better have them anyway. If ever a man needed them, you do.
And you need another job. From now on, you're fired.
The old basket himself. Can you beat it?
Which old basket?
Parkinson. Of all people, he had to be our neighbor.
So you knocked his teeth in?
Too old to have teeth knocked in. Too old to have teeth. I told him what I thought of him. That's all the goodwill I'm handing out this Christmas.
Oh, no, it's not. You're going to do nothing else but hand it out. Listen, did she say dog?
What?
That dear old lady. Are you sure she said dog?
Yes, I think so. Why?
Look in there. Go on, look. It's so kind of you, she said.
Well, what are we going to do with them?
Don't ask me. You invited them. There they are. Help yourself.
But I think she said dog.
You know what I think? I think for a dear old lady, she's pulled a pretty swift one.
Please. Oh, just listen to it. It seems to me the more goodwill and appeasement you dish out, the more the world wants to sock you.
Like Britain?
Oh, I don't know. It must be something about me.
You just want to be good, Jimmy. That's not easy. You can't be, or there wouldn't be so many of the other kind about.
One on each side of us. No. It is Christmas Eve, and she does want to see her sister.
Parkinson?
Oh, well, he's just one of those things.
Trouble to right of 'em, trouble to left of 'em, trouble ahead of 'em. Quite a bit upstairs.
Oh, I'd forgotten about them. They may be friendly.
The last hope. What on earth's that?
Oh, Buck and the gang come over to give us a carol. I suggested they might give Parkinson a couple.
Just hark at that child. We shan't get much sleep tonight anyway. No.
Is this you? Is your name Wedge?
Yes, that's right.
This was it was a mistake. Somebody upstairs.
Oh, so it's your little baby, is it?
Baby? Wedge? No. Oh, yes.
Well, won't you come in for a moment?
Oh, no. No, I mean, that is, I mustn't. Thank you.
Well, happy Christmas, anyway.
Well, possibly. I mean, naturally.
Promising, isn't it?
What's the matter with him? Anybody think we were going to eat him?
Christmas card for you from your little protege.
Who?
Sergeant Todd.
You see what I mean? Our neighbor. Christmas Eve, first meeting. He doesn't even want to be friendly. Dear Cap, I've been thinking. Oh, there's something. The good ones like you have a pretty thin time, and the bad ones like me have a pretty swell time, while it lasts, which it doesn't, not always. So I've decided to settle down, and I've got a nice little place in the country, see over. Well, there you are. What did I tell you?
Well, come on, see over.
Princetown Prison from the east.
Well, I should think that ends diplomatic relations upstairs. I wonder if there's anyone in the basement.
Well, if there is, they can deal. Oh, this is like the other place, only worse.
No. We've tried goodwill. We've tried appeasement. What about reprisals?
I was trying reprisals. What can you do about a baby?